If you're the person everyone turns to when something becomes unclear, when decisions stall, or when a client issue appears, then your business may still be running through you. That usually isn't a delegation problem, it's a workflow design problem. And in this entrepreneur strategic briefing, we'll look at why many businesses grow around the founder and how redesigning the workflow removes that bottleneck. Welcome to the Entrepreneur Strategic Briefing, where we cut through surface problems and uncover the moves that top CEOs use to scale with confidence. The goal here is to help you see beyond the illusion of productivity and get to the real leverage that actually drives business growth. Most founder led businesses grow around the founder's judgment. First, it works well. The founder understands the client, the founder protects the quality, and the founder solves unusual situations. So when something becomes unclear, the team naturally escalates the issue upward. In many companies, those escalations eventually land with the founder. At that moment, the founder becomes the place where the decision gets made. Over time, this creates a hidden pattern inside the workflow. Work moves like this: from team to manager to founder to decision, back to manager to the team. The founder becomes the decision point in the workflow. This usually happens without anyone intending it. The founder answers the difficult questions. They are the subject matter expert for their business. The founder resolves exceptions, and the founder handles important clients. And because the founder's capable, the organization learns to rely on that layer. Eventually, the workflow begins to depend on the founder's judgment, which means the business can keep operating, but it can't move forward without that input. Growth then increases decision load and not freedom for the founder. Escalation itself is normal in any organization. When something becomes uncertain, the issue should move upward to the person responsible for that level of decision. The problem appears when too many escalations reach the founder. When that happens, the founder becomes the default resolution point for uncertainty. Once that pattern's established, the workflow quietly starts running through the founder. Tasks may be delegated, work may move across the team, but decisions still route upward, which means the founder remains the operational bottleneck. Frankly, scaling doesn't require removing the founder from the business. You hear that a lot from consultants. But instead, scaling requires removing the founder from the workflow. That means redesigning how decisions move inside the company. Instead of team to manager to founder to decision, the workflow should look more like team to manager to team. The managers should be able to resolve operational decisions. That's why you hired them. And the teams execute clearly defined work as part of their job. The founder should be focusing on direction, structure, and outcomes. Now, when that happens, most escalations stop before they reach the founder, and the workflow can move forward on its own. So here's a simple question that reveals whether this is happening inside your company. When something becomes unclear inside the business, who decides what happens next? Well, if the answer is usually you, the founder, then the workflow still runs through you. It's not a complicated thing. And many times it's something that you may not recognize right off the bat. And this week's framework fix is the owner dependency index. It helps founders like yourself identify where the workflow inside their business still depends on them. This diagnostic reveals where escalations reach the founder, where authority is unclear, where decisions default upward, and where the business slows without owner input. Once those areas become visible, redesigning the workflow becomes far easier. You'll find a link to that page in the description. Now, escalation is normal in a healthy business. The problem is when every escalation ends with the founder. The goal isn't to remove yourself from the business. The goal is to remove yourself from the workflow. And when the workflow no longer depends on the founder's decisions, the business can finally begin to scale. Thank you for joining me on this week's Entrepreneur Strategic Briefing. I'm Randy Bridges, and I'll see you again next week.